Hey guys, welcome back to Studio 3B. Previously I did a Hackintosh video and it was from a Windows perspective, how to basically get the installer from a Windows computer and build a Hackintosh PC from that installer. The thing is, I got some feedback that the camera work was shaky and that also I may have sped up a little too fast during some scenes, where I'm doing configuration and things like that, or I may have overlooked or even completely omitted some of the configuration steps. So I wanted to take a little longer on this video, just a little more play-by-play, step-by-step, and I hope this does some justice. I know there's a lot of, like Reddit groups out there and Facebook groups. They usually frown upon video tutorials for Hackintosh. They like to use just the online textual guide, and that's pretty much a good rule of thumb. The Dortania guide is the source for using an OpenCore installer for macOS, and it keeps up to date, and the website will constantly have new revisions, new versions come out, and really videos become dated quite quickly. So hence that was one reason for me going so fast in the previous video. I didn't want to do too many details. I wanted to kind of teach you that you kind of have to do the thinking on your own, but some people do like a little more detail. So let me try to take my time with this video and just get a little more into it. And hopefully with my OBS Studio, I could do a little cleaner screen capture for you. So let's dive right into that. I'm going to pretty much walk you through everything I would do. I'm going to use a USB thumb drive. This is 32 gigabytes. And I think this has MP3s on it or music on it right now. So I'm going to wipe that out. Then I have, this isn't even an SSD. This is a hybrid disk. So hopefully this disk is still good. I haven't used it in years and it's going to be slow, but it will allow me to install. Okay, so first things first. But first guys, be sure to like this video and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks. Go over to my computer here and I'm going to pull up a browser and yeah, Microsoft Edge. So you just type in Dortania, okay, Hackintosh. And too bad I have Bing. I prefer Google. And because it doesn't bring you to the right link. So if you have Bing, you don't even get the right link when you Google it. It's pretty horrible. So first thing I'm going to do, add your search bar and search engine. There we go, Google. And let's go back now to home. I'll just go to google.com. Dortania, Hackintosh. Let's just do OpenCore, yeah. All right, so this is the URL you want to go to. This is the OpenCore install guide, and we're currently on 0.7.2. Okay, getting started. Now, I went over this in my last video. You kind of have to really read this and make sure you know what you're talking about. So, time and patience, you really need that. This is going to be a longer video, and this is also going to be a longer process. Just to let you know, give you some background, I've been Hackintoshing since about Mountain Lion. So anyway, that's a long time ago. Know your hardware. You need your CPU name and generation, your GPU, storage devices, laptop, desktop model if an OEM, Ethernet chipset, and WLAN Bluetooth chipset. Okay, so I have this on my other computer. I'm going to turn on my printer. I'm going to print these out, and I'm going to show you what I'm working with. Hold on. Okay, I just want to print out my specs on this computer that I'm working with that I'm going to install on. So basically, the computer that I'm working on right now is a Windows PC, and I am not going to use that one to install the Hackintosh on. It's this other computer. It's an Asus Z87 Pro motherboard. Has onboard Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, but that's incompatible with macOS, the Atheros. So I'm going to use a Fenvi FV T919 PCIe card. So I'm going to have a Kext for that, that's natively compatible, so I don't even need anything for that. I'm going to not use an SSD. I'm going to use, like I said, the hybrid disk. The case is a Cooler Master. But the GPU is an NVIDIA card. It's an NVIDIA GTX 650 Ti. There, I have all that stuff ironed out. You need to know basic knowledge of command lines and how to use a terminal command prompt. So, as I'm typing things, if you're not sure what they mean, you're going to have to do a little background research. A machine that is compatible. The machine I'm running on is already running macOS. I've determined it's compatible, worked through the kinks to figure that out in the past. So I know that what I have is compatible. You need a USB drive of at least 16 gigs. So the USB drive I have is 32 gigs, all right? And an Ethernet connection. So you don't want to start out with Wi-Fi, or even an Ethernet USB may work depending on macOS support. Okay, I'm not using Ethernet USB support or Wi-Fi dongles. During the install, I have Ethernet plugged right into the computer. So that's what I'm going to use for my onboard LAN. And proper OS installation. So you need a macOS, so that I could be doing that from my existing macOS installation, but I decided I would do it again from Windows so I could rerun through the steps. I say the majority of people that own a computer own a Windows machine, at least one of them, so this could be useful to you, but you could do it also from Linux as well. You need 15 gigabytes of free space. That shouldn't be a problem for most people. macOS users, 30 gigabytes of free space, and most users will also require Python to be installed. So we're going to go through the Python install also. Hardware limitations. Go through this. If you're still in the process of purchasing your hardware, you're going to need to isolate which hardware you're going to use and is it supported. So once you're sure you have a supported hardware, you're pretty much good to go. GPU support is very important. I'm using an NVIDIA GPU, and I think it's a Kepler because it's 650 Ti, and they are supported. So I'm one of the few supported NVIDIA GPUs. I heard they're kind of phasing it out, and you have to go with AMD, I think, or Intel. Let me see, read here. GPUs become more complicated due to near infinite amount of GPUs. Just read through this. Make sure that your GPU is supported. You could use onboard GPU or external GPU. I'm using an external GPU. So 90% of discrete GPUs, which is a separate GPU card, will not work because they are wired in a configuration that macOS does not support. A lot of the headaches with Hackintosh do come from GPU support and configuration. So make sure you spend the time reading through this part of the guide. Make sure you get something reliable. This NVIDIA GTX 650 Ti has been supported natively ever since I got it, and I haven't had any problems with it. I don't need any drivers, so that's great. I think there's more modern GPU cards that are just as supported, but that's going to take a little research on your part, and I can't really tell you for sure which ones those are. Storage support, most drives are supported. I've not had any problem with any of my drives ever working. Wired networking, Intel works, and that's what I always have been using is Intel network adapters. Wireless networking, like I said, I'm using the FenV card that is natively supported by Hackintosh, or by macOS, I should say. I'm not going to get into any of the other fancy stuff like fingerprint sensors, Windows Hello face recognition, Intel Smart Sound Technology, headphone jack combo, or Thunderbolt. I have no experience with Thunderbolt or any of these other features, so I can't speak to those. So finding your hardware. I'm not going to go and find my hardware. I wrote it down already. I'm on a separate computer, so doing that from here is not going to be helpful. But they do walk through here how to use Windows Device Manager to find some of these hardware features, and you could also use Linux commands to find these. So if you're in Linux, you can do it that way too. And Mac OS is obviously you just go to the Apple and you go to About This Mac and go to System Profile. Terminology. You should know what these terms are. If you're not familiar with them, read through them. They're kind of basic when it comes to Hackintoshing, but sometimes they're just new terms if this is the first time you've ever done it. So things like EFI, ACPI, all these terms are very much used everywhere in forums and and all that. And if you're not sure what they mean, there's a little guide right here to look up that value. So why OpenCore over Clover? There's a lot of reasons they give, such as stability. It's more true to the native how macOS works, and there's just a lot of good reasons. It's just simpler and more stable as far as I'm able to understand. Kext injection. Yeah, this is just a bunch of reasons why you should use OpenCore. So let's skip past that. Making the installer. So downloading macOS, this is the USB creation part. So this would be not a Windows command. So let's not do this one. Here we go. Making the installer in Windows. This is the section you want if you're from Windows. So we have all this stuff. We have the 4 gigabyte USB stick, 32 gigs actually. And for USB larger than 16, you format it to FAT32 using the Rufus method. So first I need to format my disk using the Rufus method. So I'm going to take my thumb drive, put it in the computer. All right, so let's go to Rufus method, download Rufus. Here we go. And I'm going to click the Windows. Don't want that. Open file. There's Rufus. All right, so you follow these steps. You set the boot selection to not bootable. File system FAT32. Let's look at these other things. The GPT, BIOS or UEFI. We're going to call this USB. And we're going to go, oh, large is not an option, but this is 32. So just FAT32 is an option, not large FAT32. Okay. All right, click start. It's going to erase everything on your USB drive. That's got to be okay with you. Okay, so we can close that. Next, go to the USB drive and create a folder called com.apple.recovery.boot. So let's go to USB. Okay. He wants to delete these auto run files, and we're going to create a new folder and paste in that string value com apple recovery boot. Okay. Then move the downloaded base system recovery images files. So we have to download these base system. I must have missed that step. So let's go back up and read that step again. Okay, I skipped right over downloading macOS. So I went to the Rufus method. Okay, so now you need macrecovery.py, which is a Python file, and I'm going to download. All right, so I need Python installed. So let's go there. Download Python. Run that. All right, I'm going to customize install. Looks good. All right, so I went to customize install because I remembered this step. You really need Python added to the environment variables. That's because we're going to run command lines from the command prompt, and if you don't have it in an environment variable, you're not going to be able to find the Python executable. So add that to your environment variable and click install. All right, setup was successful. So let's click close and let's go to the next step. So downloading macOS. So we're going to grab legacy installers from OpenCore package. So let's download that from here. I'm going to do everything in debug. That is a larger file. It's a slower file, but it has more information if you're having trouble. We're going to replace everything with the release once we get everything working, but start with debug. It has more information in case you need to troubleshoot. Extract all, extract it. Okay, so we have the debug, and it's telling us to go to Utilities, Mac Recovery, and from here you want to open a command prompt. Yeah, so, okay, so we're in here. I'm gonna copy this file path, and I'm gonna go to command prompt. Type in CMD, and you're gonna CD to that. And what you do to paste is just right mouse click in the command prompt. So, and then it wants to write a command. So now you're going to run one of these commands depending on what version of macOS you want. So I'm going to go down to Big Sur, and I'm going to copy this command. If it lets me select it. It's hard to select this, or it's just not showing that. Let's see if I copy that. Ah, there it goes. I just right mouse click to paste that command. This is for Big Sur. All right, download is complete. There's some issues with certain systems to resolve. For information, first-time users, they recommend Catalina. That's because some things are broken, some things aren't. Some things are broken by that. I mean, some software programs have not yet been upgraded to be compatible with later than Catalina or Mojave or anything like that. So, but by now we're in August of 2021 and Big Sur is pretty well stable by now. So I'm going to go with that. So next step would be going down to here and get the base system. So right in the directory where Mac Recovery is, there's base system DMG and chunk list. So it's telling me to put that in the com.apple.recovery.boot directory. So I'm going to copy chunk list, shift click DMG, and I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to go over to, let's do another Explorer file. There we go. And we're going to paste it in here. And that's going to take a second because it's a USB drive. Okay, so we've copied in the base system DMG and chunk list file. Now let's go to the next step. You can grab the OpenCore package that you downloaded earlier, and you're going to want to grab, for 64-bit, you're going to grab the x64 folder and copy it in to, you're going to copy the EFI folder. So let's do that. Let's go to over here, go up here, go to 64 and copy this EFI folder and go over to this USB drive and paste it in. Give that a minute. When that's done, setting up EFI. So you need to add the base files of OpenCore. We did that. So it says, let's open up the EFI folder and see what's inside. So if we go to here, this is the USB drive with the EFI folder. Let's go inside that, and you go in here and get the drivers. I got the boot folder. Okay. It's basically telling us that we need to keep only what's necessary for the EFI and get rid of all the rest. So what it has highlighted here, you want this EFI, Open Runtime EFI, Open Shell, and Open Core. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Everything else you really don't need. Let me verify that. Yeah, everything else you really don't need. So let's go, and it's telling us, let's see. Well, this is just telling you what each thing is. Yeah, you need to clean this up and just get it down to look like that. So let's go do that. So I don't know what content flavor is. Let's not worry about that. Drivers, you only want Open Runtime. So let's get rid of everything else. So if you select everything, Control, click Open Runtime, and then just say delete. Okay, and then go to Tools, select everything, Control click Open Shell EFI, and click delete. And then going back up one. Yep, got that. I don't know what content flavor is. That's interesting. So we have boot, we've got drivers and tools. Now here's what a populated EFI can look like. So we're going to have to populate this with all of our files. This is what's going to vary depending on what your hardware is. Let's go through the gathering the files phase of building your installer. All right, so we're going to gather files. So let's see what we got here. Firmware drivers. You do need hfsplus.efi, so let's open that in a new tab, download that, and then let's say show in folder, copy that file, and we're going to paste that in the USB EFI. Oh wait, hold on a second. Okay, I made a mistake earlier. The EFI folder goes parallel to COM Apple Recovery Boot. So let's go back to here, drag this EFI folder up to the USB drive. There we go. That's what you're looking for right there. And on my clipboard, I still have the HFS Plus driver. So let's go to the drivers. Let's paste that there. Okay, let's go back to where we were. I'm not going to get any of these other ones. Kext. So Kext, you do need virtual SMC and Lilo. Okay, virtual SMC. I'm going to get the debug version of everything. So get that, get the Kext. All right, you need virtual SMC. So you're going to control click. So yeah, virtual SMC. You need SMC processor, Super IO, and the actual driver. So let's just go back over here. Virtual SMC Kext, Super IO, and processor. Let's copy those. And let's put it into Kext. Very simply. There we go. And these Kexts show up as folders in our folders. However, on macOS, they look like files. A little difference there. Although they still are folders. Whatever green, I'm going to download that because I need that. I'll get the debug version just to be safe. Copy the Kext. Go back to, make sure you're working in the right folders, guys. Paste here. Apple ALC. I'm not going to work on the audio. I use external audio devices for my sound. So I'm not going to work on the audio. Ethernet. Okay, so my Ethernet is, you're going to have to look up what your Ethernet card is, but Intel Mousy is good for Intel. I just know that Intel Mousy is the Ethernet driver that I'm going to use. All right, next get the Intel Mousy debug. Open that up. Copy the Intel Mousy Kext. Go to the actual EFI on your USB and paste it in. Okay, so I don't need any of that other stuff. You might need this one, Realtek, if you have a Realtek one. Now, USB Inject All is a Kext that allows all the USB ports to be used on your computer. It's not a permanent solution. It's a way to get all the ports to work so that you can identify which ports you're using, which ports you have. We'll go from there. So get the USB Inject All, get the latest one, which is actually from 2018. So File, get the debug, copy that, paste that into here. All right, next one. XHCI unsupported, needed for non-native USB controllers. I don't have that. X79, is that what I have? I have a Z87, so no, it's not on there. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, don't need any of that, don't need any of that. AMD CPU, nope, I'm not AMD, and I'm not a laptop. SSDT, so you see all the SSDT ACPI examples. All right, so my architecture for this PC is Haswell. Okay, so I am going to need power management, and I'm going to need SSDT EC, which is embedded controller. Now, I think I just need the EC one to boot, and the power management I can do afterwards. See, it says run it in post install. No need to worry about it while you're building the installer. I don't need AWAC, NVRAM, or USB. So I'm going to click this link, and I am going to use the pre-built one for getting booted up. I'll get a better one after I install the operating system. But for now, you just need to copy SSDT EC desktop. And I'm going to download that file, and I'm going to open that up and open up Notepad here. It should be a binary file. Yep. So that is AML. That is the compiled language file. So let's copy that, put that into our USB EFI OC ACPI folder. Okay. And keep going down. None of this stuff applies. Now the plug is the power management, and that's not required right now. So let's go back to the guide, and basically the next thing you have to do is get your Config.plist set up. So to do that, okay guys, just for luck, I'm going to download the plug Dortania AML because I think that is required. So I'm going to place this file in ACPI as well. Okay, the next step here is that you're going to need to build the config.plist. This is where a lot of the configuration part comes from, and a lot of the research and reading is going to help with determining which settings to use in this file. First thing you're going to need to edit your config.plist is proper tree. So let's go to that. Let's download that. And let's extract that, and let's open that. All right, there's proper tree. Now you're going to need to start your config file. Well, actually, you will need Gen Symbios. This is a utility to get your Symbios determined and generated. So let's download that, go to downloads, extract that. So we have that on hand, okay? Now we could go to sample config.plist. That's in the OpenCore directory, so let's go there. Let's go up here, and it's under docs sample.plist. Copy that, go to your USB folder, and place that right in the root of your OC directory. So now this needs to be renamed to config.plist, and then you can open this in proper tree. So go File, Open, and go to your USB drive and open the config.plist. Now basically you want two screens, one with the directions and one with your config.plist in it. So the first thing you're going to want to do, File, OC, Clean Snapshot, and you're going to want to select your OC directory in your USB drive and say Select Folder. What that's going to do is populate with all the files that you already have. And I know the next thing you're going to want to do is delete these warnings, because that's just for the sample file. All right, so let's read this. Now it has ACPI. It tells you to add the things that you need to add. But basically when you go File, OC Clean Snapshot or OC Snapshot, it will do that for you. So that I have my ACPI files here. So let's just talk about ACPI, and everything there should be set to go. So now booter, let's see, booter, okay. Just make sure everything looks like it does here. So MMIO whitelist. Oh, by the way, I am under Haswell configuration. You should be under the architecture configuration of your PC. So, MMIO whitelist. Okay, so MMIO whitelist is pretty much left alone according to this. Device properties. So the guide draws your attention to which properties to change with red highlight. So I kind of browsed through a little quicker. So I'm going to skip past the PCI root section because I'm not using an iGPU. iGPU is a built-in GPU. We're using a dedicated GPU in my example. Apple ALC has to do with sound on the motherboard, and I'm not using that. Kernel. Okay, let's go to kernel. So we're going to go here. Apple CPU. They are kind of hard to say. So it's under quirks. So I'm just going to collapse everything here. Quirks. I need this one set to false, which it is. I need this one set to true, so click that. Custom Symbios GUID, that's going to be false. Disable IO mapper is true. Lapic kernel panic is false. Panic no kex dump is true. Power timeout kernel panic is true. And XHCI port limit is true for now. And I'm going to hit file, save, make sure everything's saved. Okay. Next, I'm only going to skip right to the red marks because that's an indicator that there's something I have to change there. Everything else is being left as default. So let's go to miscellaneous, debug, Apple debug. Yeah, this is temporary, but we're going to set that to true. And Apple panic to true. And target to 67. Allow NVRAM reset under security to true, and allow set default to true. Scan policy is 0. Secure boot model default, and vault optional, not secure. Okay, optional. Spelled correctly. All right, I'm gonna hit file, save. Next, NVRAM. Let's collapse this. NVRAM boot args. This is important. Let's go down to boot args. You definitely need -V. That's verbose. Keep sims is 1, and then you're going to add, for now, debug equals 0x100. I'm going to not worry about ALC ID, but I'll add it because it's telling me to. It doesn't really affect me since, like I said, I'm not doing onboard sound. Previous line keyboard, I'll just leave that alone. Previous line keyboard. So US is this one, so let me paste that in. That's US. I'm gonna hit file, save. Now remember, everything under the pictures is explained what they are. So if you're not sure what things are, please go down and read all this. Platform info. Okay, this is where you're going to use the generate Symbios utility. iMac 14.4 has well with iGPU, and iMac 15.1 for has well with dedicated GPU. So that's the one I'm going to use. iMac 15.1. So what I have to do is run the Gen Symbios application. So I'm going to go to that folder, run this, and I'm going to say generate Symbios 3. Okay, and I'm going to type in iMac 15.1, enter. Now it gives me these unique values. And I don't want to show them to you because it's a serial number. But basically, you get the type, serial, board serial, SMUUID, and Apple ROM. Go to the Apple check coverage page and enter in your serial number. And you can copy that from the command prompt and hit paste. All right, if it says we're sorry, but the serial number isn't valid, please check your information and try again. Then you've successfully found a serial number that is not in use. And that is what you're looking for. So take those values and put them under generic platform info generic. And I can't show you this because my serial number is special. But take iMac 15.1 and put that under system product name. So your serial number, copy that. And that goes under system serial number. Your board serial goes under MLB, and your SMUUID, you copy that, and that goes under system UUID, and then Apple ROM goes under ROM. And I'm going to hit save. And I'm going to collapse this so I can go back to sharing my screen. So generic platform info is filled in. UEFI is generated. Ignore invalid flex ratio under quirks. Let's go down to quirks. Ignore invalid flex ratio is yes or true. Okay, and onto the installation page. So now, I'm pretty sure this is the moment of truth. This is where we are going to we're going to eject the USB, we're going to put it into the computer, and we're going to see if we can even get anything to boot. So let's cut out here and let's switch over to that next. Okay, hey everyone, this is Aaron from Studio 3B, back again. After a little trial, I just ejected the USB and put it in my other computer off camera just to give it a trial, just to see how it would run. And I got stuck there after letting it sit there for about 10 minutes. So I looked at the error and did a little Googling. So what you do typically when you get a problem with reaching the installer on a Hackintosh is you look at the last few lines, you look at the error that you're getting, just put that in a Google search, put OpenCore with that Google search, and you have to go through forums, and you need to pretty much either find questions that have already been answered with regards to that error, or if you absolutely are the first one to ever encounter that error, which is highly unlikely, you could post a question on a forum. But what I realized is in looking back through my USB, I skipped a crucial step. So comparing the USB kext with the required kext, I'm missing a lilu.kext. So that's something I need to download and add to my USB before I try again. So I'm going to do that. And this is one of the main things that you have to go through when making a Hackintosh, is skipping steps by accident. You don't do it intentionally, it's unintentional, but it's easy to do. Even in my tutorial here, I missed this. So I'm putting lilu.kext. That's a required kext for OpenCore. All right, I'm gonna go and try this again, and if it works, I will film it for you. Okay, so that didn't work. That was definitely a required kext, but it still got stuck on the same error. So I'm going to put my USB back in this computer, and I'm just going to go through all my settings one more time to make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, so the error I'm getting is something revolving around ACPI. I don't know if it's power management or anything like that, but let me check. Okay, one thing I just found was an extra equal sign in my boot args. That might have interfered. So I had an extra equal sign here I just took out. It's also important to look at the BIOS settings on your computer. The one I'm working on already has BIOS settings set properly for Hackintoshing, but it's important to look at this and set your BIOS settings properly. So another thing you could do is take a picture of the error so that you're able to look at it closely and search on it. So I took a picture on my camera, so let me get that image up. Okay, so this is the error that I got on the last boot. So it's really just the output of the logs, but you have to look through it to see what the error is. And what I see here is something having to do with forcing CS runtime. Let's see. So I see this Apple ACPI CPU error timeout. It says get failure. And down here it says busy timeout Apple ACPI CPU. So what we could do is Google search that error. So I'll say OpenCore Apple ACPI CPU timeout. And try this one. All right, this one says don't have both fake SMC and virtual SMC enabled. Oh, you know what I did? I added lilo.kex to my kex folder, but I did not add it back to the config. So let's do that. So go to proper tree, and then you have to go File, OC snapshot, and then select your OC directory from the USB drive one more time. And it's going to reload. So now if I look in here, if I do Control F, I should see Lilu. No, I don't see that because that's the key. I'll search on the value. Yes, there it is. Okay, so let's save this file. Let's eject one more time and try it over on the computer. Like I said, and once I get it working, I will stop taking pictures of the errors and just show you the boot. Okay guys, here's the moment of truth. I'm going to take the USB drive that I've been working on. I'm going to put it in the computer, and I'm going to turn the power on. When you get to this, you click delete, or whatever key that your motherboard says to get to the BIOS. I'm going to go to boot menu and choose the UEFI of the SanDisk, which is the name of my USB, and you can see by the size it's only 30 gigs. So I'm going to click on that, and everything is going to be textual because it's in debug mode. Give it a minute to reach the selection menu. I'm going to go up to USB. The other drives listed here are from my other operating systems in this computer, so I'm not going to go to those selections. Go to the USB and click enter. And sometimes you have to be a little patient, especially if your computer is different speeds, or if you're in debug mode, like I said, it's just going to take a little longer to boot. Once you do the post-install steps, it's not going to be this slow at all. But just be patient for the initial boot. Okay, after about a minute of waiting, I'm finally seeing some text on the screen. And we've reached the Apple logo. And it looks like we're going to make it. Alright guys, we made it to the installer. I'm going to leave this as part one of a multi-video tutorial. I think this is enough information for one video, just reaching the installer. But basically the next steps you're going to do are format your disk and install it to that disk. But I will leave that for the second video, and all the post-install steps I will certainly show you as well. So stay tuned, but congratulations, you made it this far, which is absolutely the hardest part of this whole thing. So talk to you soon. Bye.